You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to the Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, March 7th show. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I am your co-host, Gill and Harvey.
Your local mortgage experts. It is a great day to talk about money, and that's what the show is all about. How to make money, save money, so you can have a better quality of life for you and your family. If you're listening to our show at a different time of day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we're here to connect you with the guests that we have on the show. Please call at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio right now, we have Cory Brewer and Rob Gasca, Rental Market Legal Update. So excited to have the two of you in studio. First time to have a chat with you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. And a little bit about Cory and Rob. Cory Brewer is the general manager at Windermere Property Management, Lori Gill and Associates. He assumed his role in 2011 after 9 years in residential real estate sales in the Seattle area. Cory's primary focus are quality control, legal compliance, and broker training. Rob Gasca is the Director of Commercial Property Management at WPM LGA. After managing a residential portfolio as a top producer for over 10 years, he assumes this new corporate leadership role to further develop the company's position in the local commercial marketplace.
Cory, you big stud, you. Look at that.
Speaking of big stud, I got to step in here really quickly because I always make a joke how it's all about the girl show, but
yes,
we have a bunch of men power in here, and we just have a couple girl power on mic. So
I know. Finally, we're not outnumbered. This is fantastic. Yeah. So, Cory, let's talk right out of the gate about who is your clientele.
Yeah, so we have a pretty wide-ranging client profile. Mm-hmm. We have clients who live all over the world. We have clients who live across the street from the rental property that we manage for them. So a pretty typical client for us on the residential side would be someone who maybe has been relocated for a few years for their job across the country, out of the country. They're not going to sell their house. They're going to move back into it 3 years from now. So they want to recognize some rental income on the property. Sure. So that's a pretty typical client for us. We also have people who have maybe inherited properties from a family member, something like that, and they don't want to unload it yet. So we manage that as a rental for them. And then we've got tons of clients who are investors who very specifically choose to invest their money in the real estate market. And a lot of those are the clients who we manage multiple properties for. Most of our clients own a single rental property, single family home, condo unit, maybe a duplex, triplex, fourplex. But that's our primary market.
Wonderful. So, Rob, what scope of services do you provide?
Well, on the commercial side, commercial management and leasing. So we'll manage your building. We'll manage the asset in terms of all the financials. We'll manage tenant. We'll manage building maintenance. So a complete, comprehensive management of the entire building or the entire asset. Now, with that, we have tenant movement for leasing. So we will offer space in buildings, not only in office, but in retail. So we can lease out space for building owners as well.
And such an important service because for somebody that if you own one rental property, you definitely don't have the expertise that you need to be able to manage that asset. And, you know, I mean, I love how you use that word, Cory, because that's exactly what it is. So you need to hire an expert to do that for you. And if you have multiple properties, if you have any other type of job, you don't have the time to manage those assets. So love the service and so important to have a property manager if you're on a rental property.
Do you guys do short-term like vacation rentals, or is it all lease long-term?
No, we really don't. That's just not something that we've gotten into.
Yeah, no, just curious about that. What are the most significant changes that you've seen? I mean, in recent history, obviously the market here is crazy, constantly evolving monster. Yeah. What are you guys seeing on your end of the business?
Well, the main thing that I wanted to talk about on that end would be all the legal changes that keep happening in our industry.
Especially in Seattle, right?
Especially in Seattle, more so the last couple years throughout the state of Washington. But I mean, I'm not kidding. Every week it seems like there is a new law or guideline.
It's as bad as the tax law.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's like the Wild West out here.
Wow.
And so we do get feedback from some of our clients like, hey, this is too much for me. Like, I might think about getting out of the rental market. Our answer to that is, let us guide you through it.
Yes.
We understand what's happening here. Part of my message is to people who have not hired a property manager yet, who own rental property, and they're maybe feeling scared about how am I going to comply with all these new rules. That's what we're here for. We make a very concerted effort to not only watch what's going on, but try to participate in what's going on. Meet with lawmakers, meet with legislators, try to be a voice for the small single-family landlord that often gets overlooked when these policies are being considered or voted on or whatnot. So whether that's trips down to Olympia, Seattle City Council meetings.
So you're on the Hill.
I've been to them all.
Yeah.
And I think that's some of the value that we provide. And I would say that the short answer is the ever-changing legal landscape. Like, what day is it? Because there's probably a new law that just passed yesterday.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Keelan.
I was just going to say, that alone is worth its weight in gold. With all these changes, I mean, to be able to pass that to somebody else who can take responsibility and stay on top of that, I mean, the stress load as a landlord that I mean, considering somebody randomly can just move in your house and live there and all this crazy extreme circumstances you hear about, you can't deny somebody in their criminal background. What? So in like multifamily, you can have like robbers and stuff that you live next to and you don't know. I don't know if there's a loophole and they can get rid of them another way, but all that stuff's scary. Why not have a professional use your experts?
And that's really what the show is all about. It's called The Money Hour because it's setting you up with the best of the best in every area regarding your finances so you can get connected and hooked up. And I'm a believer that you've got to hire out all of the stuff that you are not an expert at. So Rob, what is the most common challenge that you face in property management?
Wow, that's a great question.
There's probably a couple of them, right?
Do you have a couple hours?
Yeah. We should have a whole show all on challenges that come up with property management.
Challenges. When it comes to what we do and the goals and the service that we try to achieve, it's really balancing all of the services that we provide at a top level. And so when it comes to managing your tenant, it's providing them with the most, the service you can offer, the attention, response time. As far as the building is concerned, the owners have a lot of money invested in our buildings. And so making sure that we maintain those at the top level, that they maintain their equity, that they, the appearance of the building, that is very difficult. And then, one other item that our clients think about is the financials, right?
Yes.
Probably one of the most important reasons why they're there. So making sure that we're able to report on a monthly and a yearly basis accurate financials to make sure that we're able to measure the performance of their investment. So, all of those things are extremely important, and balancing them on a daily basis is challenging.
Yeah, and if they're trying to do that themselves, think of the tax issues that they can have if they're not doing it correctly. So critically important.
Definitely.
So how do you list off a few things that your clients benefit from working with you and your team specifically?
Yeah. So the number one thing that I wanted to talk about when we were getting to this question is some statistics. And when I give you statistics, I'm talking from numbers from the Northwest Multiple Listing Service. Everyone's familiar with that. That's the licensed real estate broker community, basically. These are people who have hired a licensed broker to manage their property. Within that community, we have by far the fastest days on market average, which what that means is we rent our properties faster. What that ultimately means is less vacancy loss for our property owners, which vacancy is the number one worst expense that you can have as a rental property owner because you get nothing out of it. So eliminating vacancy by getting our properties rented faster is probably the number one thing that we can exhibit that we are doing on a very consistent basis. And that also is great for our tenants as well, because when we have tenants who are getting ready to move out of our properties, we're able to rent them faster and not disrupt them as much. By having it on the market for 6 or 8 weeks, we're usually able to get it rented much faster than that. And then, of course, if someone is ever breaking their lease, it'll be crucial for them how quickly we can get the home re-rented. So
Yeah.
that's a huge one for us, and that also helps our clients achieve higher rents because we price them properly to begin with. We rent them more quickly, and we're not sitting here taking price drops every week.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of times too, when people own rental properties and they try to manage them on themselves, that they are under renting. They're not increasing the rents and keeping up with the market. And so I think there's a lot of lost money there. Rob, let's talk about, in any industry, we all have competitors, but in any industry, there's the best of the best. How are your clients benefiting from working with you guys being the best of the West? That's why you're here representing on the Money Hour. How do they receive that from your team? What are you doing that's unique compared to your competitors?
Well, I think more than anything, it's our people, because our competitors, everybody has, tools and resources and, computer software, all in technology. But what we have, I think that sets us apart is our people. We're highly skilled. We're highly committed and dedicated.
Yeah.
The tenure of most of our employees, our brokers, our accounting team is long term. So we're a well-oiled machine. We have accountability to each other to really get the job done at the very highest level. Those are the things that I look at more than anything. We're a solid team that works together in one common goal. And I've been around a number of different organizations to understand that when you have that type of teamwork and that common goal, things get done at a very fast pace, a very high level, very efficient. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, totally agree. The reason that we're the best of the best in the mortgage space is because of the team. You cannot do it without having a strong team.
Go back on that fast pace. A lot of people don't understand. If you don't rent out your property for a couple months, that's loss. That's a loss.
Yeah.
And if you amortize that over 12 months, this is significant money. It's shocking to me sometimes how people hold on to this number, and then just lose months of rent. And you could have gave away a free month, rented it out right out of the gate, and you would have been better than sitting for a couple months, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you hold out for $100 more a month, it takes a matter of maybe 2 weeks of vacancy to wash that away completely.
Right.
And that's if you even get that price.
Right? Makes all the sense in the world. So, Cory, let's talk about the goals of the company over the next 5 years. What are you guys hoping to accomplish?
Yeah, so, one of the things that we all see every day is the homelessness crisis out here.
Yeah.
And that has really impacted our industry, the residential rental market, because you read the paper and you see a lot of legal activity, legislative activity attempting to target evictions. And so I mentioned earlier trips to Olympia, Seattle City Council, whatnot. Try to be a voice and try to be impactful in that space to speak to these policymakers and help them understand both sides of the common goal that we have here with just the housing industry in general, and try to help them steer towards solutions that I think are going to be effective to that end, as opposed to just deciding that the answer is to legislate against landlords. And so that's something that I have a really strong passion for.
Yeah.
And then on the business side, we want to keep growing. We have number one market share in this community by a long shot. Where I really want to see us grow is in Snohomish County. That's where I feel like we have some room for growth. We're at about 25% market share in King County right now.
Okay.
We're a little under 20 in Snohomish County, so I'd really like to see what we're able to do up north a little bit ways.
Awesome. Yep. Wonderful. Rob, hey, we've got less than a minute left, but I want to ask you, what is your favorite part about representing Windermere Property Management, Lori Gill and Associates?
Working with Cory Brewer.
Oh, that's so nice.
Well, there's other things. Honestly, Lori Gill, her commitment to excellence is really what makes us what we are today.
Yeah.
The Windermere name is synonymous with quality. So that in itself gets us up in the morning every day. The performance and the results that we deliver, the tools and the resources that we're given to do our job.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier when you have the support, the tools, the resources, and of course, Cory
Good
Brewer
old
driving
Corey.
the bus.
So awesome.
You didn't see me hand him a 20 under the table.
No, and
here.
I saw no money exchange.
Yeah.
Well, what a great way to end our time here. And a shout out to Lori. If you could see the guys' big smiles on their faces. We just really enjoyed having you here. And thank you for representing property management, and would love to have you back in studio. We do need to have a show on all of the challenges that can come up.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Coming up next on the Money Hour, arrogance. We're going to be talking about that with Dee Gupta of D Coaching right here at 11:50 a.m. KKNW after the short break.